Testing 5, 4, 1, 2.
Might run out though, because I use it
There's a
for
spare one
overtime.
there, so.
Oh, I've got to turn my phone off, haven't I?
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. They won't give me a little hammer. I don't know why. Used to have one, didn't we? But there you are. Yeah, the mouse has eaten it, I think. Right, good evening, everybody, and welcome. This meeting is not a council meeting. It's a town meeting for the residents of Downham Market. Although there are one or two councillors on the agenda who will bring you up to date with their comments, councillors that are here are residents of this meeting. Once again, welcome. Please enjoy the proceedings. It is right that the chairman for this meeting is the chairman of the council. That's why you got me. This is my last major meeting before the new mayor is elected in May, and I would like to say that it has been a privilege to serve you as chairman for the last few weeks, and I look forward to serving you as a councillor for the coming year. We move on. Item 2, to receive apologies for absence.
No apologies.
No apologies.
No apologies.
Thank you. To approve the minutes of the town meeting held on Monday the 20th of April last year, 2021. If anybody can remember them or wants to comment, any comments? No. Can I have a proposer for those from a councillor? David.
Councillor Sharman.
A seconder, please.
Councillor Rawson.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Okay. Any matters arising from the previous meeting? Does anybody want to bring anything up on that? No?
Nothing reported to the office either.
We'll move on. Okay, we're now going into presentations and questions, etc., etc. And the speakers would like to come up to the lectern here so that everybody can hear because the mic's on there. So first of all, on your agenda, it's a presentation from the constabulary. Thank you very much.
Hi, evening everyone. I'm Sergeant Emily Green. I run the local policing team here at Downham Market. I have done for the last few years. I've just recently returned from maternity leave, so it's very, very nice to be back with you all. And this is PC Jo Higgins. She's a member of my team here, and she actually looks after the town centre here in Downham Market. Instead of trotting out a load of statistics at you, which is going to last a long time and none of you are really interested in because there's no change or numbers have gone down, we're just going to open the floor and just say, does anybody have any questions for us? Anything anybody would like to raise or speak to us about? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'd like to raise the point about traffic at Nursery Road, where parents are parking on the corner. So as people come down the road, come into Grimshoe Road or whatever it's called, there's going to be an accident. Parents just park on the side of the road. Now I know it's only had yellow lines put in, but they totally ignore them. So
Is it just during school dropping off and pick-up times? Yeah, okay. We certainly can have a look at it. Our powers are fairly limited as to double yellow lines. Usually it does fall within the remit of a traffic warden, so I don't know whether or not the town council have looked at traffic wardens, what the situation is. I often do see somebody actually patrolling myself, so whether or not the town council can get them to have a look.
Come back on that. Traffic wardens should actually start doing it. Because what we have to do, for a period of time, give them a little bit of leeway, and then all of a sudden they can get up. We've got the other same thing outside school, where we've had some single yellow lines put outside school. But I know what's happened. The only thing I'm doing is move my traffic from here to there. Because I'll stop them here, so they'll be down the road. Yep. On the other hand, we put them there, so they can get actually to the entrance of the school. Because what they're doing, they have the both sides of the road. And then from anybody won't get down to school, they can't get down to school. But, yourself a little present early now again, won't do any harm.
No, absolutely not. We'll get on it, and it sounds like the traffic warden will be too. Is that all right, sir?
That's fine.
Lovely, thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I was in the town Monday, Tuesday. There's a large gang of youngsters patrolling the town this last 2 or 3 weeks probably. I know police have been round looking for such youngsters, but are the patrols being more available they were really making some trouble outside John's Butcher's. I was in the butcher at the time, and he's after this youngster, and he said, yeah, he wanted to fight him to come outside. Quite violent and behaviour not acceptable. Is the patrols going to be up to stop these youngsters? They're only 14 probably.
We certainly are increasing patrols. We are very, very visible in the town. We've got at least 2 beat managers in the town most of the day. Unfortunately, my team is only on a 6 on, 3 off period. Generally, we've noticed that the children do it in the later afternoon or during the day during school holidays.
Yeah.
What we really would ask is, can you please call us if you see anything? If something's ongoing, call 999. It's not a problem, and we'd like to tackle it immediately, because what we're finding is people aren't calling it in, and therefore the calls aren't stacking up, and so it looks to the onlooker like there isn't a huge problem. We obviously know there are issues with the children. We have got names. Banning letters are being put in place, aren't they, Jo?
Yeah, we've got a lot of ongoing work with some of them, which you obviously won't be aware of, and we obviously can't divulge that information, but we know who most of them are that cause issues. And in fairness to some of them, just because there's a big group of them doesn't necessarily mean they're doing anything wrong. I think it's fair to say, as youngsters, we're all aware that in a town that's fairly quiet, you want to hang out with your mates. There's always just 1 or 2 in said group that will then cause the problems, as we all know. We are aware of them. We are trying to work with them. We work with the Swan Project. We're working with banning letters. We're working with the youth offending team. We work with the operational partnership team. So I'm trying to do some sort of intervention and actually get the kids to sort of realise their behaviour and behave as well, because they are entitled to be in town. They live here as well, but we just need to try and get them to behave in a better way so everyone can live peacefully together, so they can be here and everyone else can be here, but there is lots going on with them.
I think possibly need a proficiency test, so they learn which way they're supposed to ride their bikes up and down these streets, not full of wheelies going down Bridge Street.
I don't know how many conversations I've had with them.
Because
I don't.
Fault, if one gets knocked over and hurt seriously, who's going to pay for it? All the insurance and all else, where's that going to come back to?
Yeah, we are limited with cycling because of their age, so any enforcement with cycling in terms of tickets, etc., they have to be over 16, so we can't issue a ticket in terms of what we would do for adults. So again, it's a bit more of intervention and trying to make them behave.
But what we can do, and what we have been doing, is we can issue what's called a Section 35 dispersal notice to these children if we know that they are causing antisocial behaviour or are likely to cause antisocial behaviour. Particularly with cycles, we can actually remove those bikes from them, and that is the biggest deterrent for them, because they have to come to the police station with mum or dad to retrieve it, and generally that doesn't go down very well. No. So that is what we are doing, is try and stop it. And I know that our inspector himself has been going out on foot dealing with these children and making them apologise to people and trying to get them to see the error of the ways that way and seeing the impact that they're having upon the local shop holders as well. So we are trying a lot of different things, but I really would encourage, if there is criminal activity in particular or antisocial behaviour, just call us. Please don't feel afraid to call us. We really welcome that.
Gentleman at the right.
Why have we not got any cameras within this town to monitor these problems?
You'll have to speak to council about that.
We would love there to be. We would love there to be
cameras. We absolutely would love there to be cameras. It's something we're pursuing. You know, with the council, I've spoken to Andy this week about trying to have a look at whether we can, if that's something that the council would be able to put in, whether that's something that can be funded. It would help us enormously. It's not the be-all and end-all because it doesn't solve everything, but it is a deterrent and it would help. But again, that isn't funded from the police. So
the problem is, if you walk down that road behind Tesco's, the lane in Rollins, the poor people there, the amount of times their fences are smashed.
I know. Yeah.
And all the rubbish that lies down around that bridge and everything.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of CCTV, I mean that wouldn't really help in terms of littering. But it would be a deterrent if we could just have a handful of cameras in the town centre so we can keep an eye on things. And it helps us respond as well, because if we can see where the kids are or where someone's run off to, and it's not just kids, CCTV is helpful prevention of any sort of crime. It helps us just negotiate where we need to be a lot quicker. But again, it's not for us. It's not for us to fund. We don't have that funding. But like I said, I'm in talks with the council, so to try and see if we can progress that.
Charlie.
Just recently we've had a road closure up next door road. It didn't work because people kept moving the cones up and doing everything, and we never actually saw a policeman up there at the time when these people kept doing it.
I didn't know the word. We've not had, as far as I've seen, we've had no reports at all of it, so we weren't aware.
But it's very difficult. Apparently somebody's been had a camera up there taking pictures, but I don't know who it was.
Oh, no, I was
So I can't
reporting that
help you
to
there.
us,
But
unfortunately.
they kept moving and going through. There was great big holes in the road. I was worried about somebody going down there.
People always take umbrage to road closures. Unfortunately, anything that inconveniences a driver's day. Unfortunately, we didn't know about that. I assume there'll be some more at some point with the buildings, but
Next
school holidays, we'll keep an eye on it for next school holidays.
Thank you for making us aware. And again, please let us know, because if we don't know, we can't do. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Can we move on, please? And thank you very much for coming and attending and answering the questions.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. The next one is to receive a presentation from the market traders, Belinda Leach.
Good evening. My name is Belinda Leach and I'm a market trader here in Downham. And this is just to say on behalf of myself and my fellow traders, we want to say thank you to all the people of Downham and our customers who have supported us through what we are all calling the troubles of the last 2 years. The victimisation, personal attacks, harassment and constant bullying that we have undergone would have been unbearable if it wasn't for the encouragement we got from all of you. And a lot of us wouldn't have survived. So although there were times we didn't think this was ever going to end, as nothing we did seemed to have any effect on the tyranny that we were going through, it is all over now, and our tormentors have gone. So now all we need to do is look forward, and unlike the old council, who had their own agenda for Downham, the new council, staff and the traders are working together in wanting Downham to thrive again. And the legacy of the last 2 years is going to take some time to overcome. We are getting the word out there that Downham is back and open for business. And I do believe that if we are patient and continue to work together, Downham is going to thrive again. So we just want to say thank you to all of you for everything that you have done for us. And thank you to the councillors that stayed, fought their corner and had their own share of abuse, that they're now working with the new councillors and hopefully we can rebuild Downham and make it back to the place that it was before, and we can all have the fun town that we once had. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Belinda. Item 7, to receive a presentation from Clack Close Rangers, Emma Smith.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. I got home late from work, so I work in Cambridge. So I am District Commissioner for Clack Close District Guiding. I'm also a Rainbow Leader and a Ranger Leader as well. So I'm going to talk about the guiding we do in the local area as a whole. So Guiding is the leading charity in the UK for girls and women. It's about developing skills and confidence for young people. Our aim is to give young people a place to thrive, develop, learn, a girl-led environment, a girl-safe space, and a place to make lifelong friends as well. We have rainbows in Downham, we have brownies, guides and rangers, and when I say the Downham area, that includes Watlington and Runcton Home as well. We have approximately 130 girls across our units, and we have a small group of leaders who make our units happen. We meet weekly during term time, and our meetings involve working towards badges such as safe space, first aid, as well as campaigning, fitness, photography, just to name a few of the things that we do. We also have opportunities for our older girls to go camping, to go on days out together, do activities, as well as giving an opportunity to sort of do team building activities as well. Some of the things we've done recently include camping, we've done cinema trips, we've recently held a disco for the district as well, which was really fun. And we've got things planned as well at our local guiding activity centre in Norwich called Hobbis, as well as trips locally to the new Downham escape rooms, as well as framing art as well. We've got things going on there, and we've done things with the Heritage Centre as well. We want our girls to leave feeling like they have a broader experience of the world and they understand the wider meaning of things. We're all about community and guiding, so our leaders work really closely with one another to make sure that our girls get the experience they deserve. We're quite a small group of volunteers, so everything we do, we do in our own time, so we don't get paid for anything. And we are really desperate for some more help as well. We're looking for adults as well as young people, so anyone between the age of 14 and 17 can come and help at our units as part of their DOV, or they just want to get some CV skills on there as well. Me personally, I started in guiding when I was a brownie, so when I was 7, I did guides. I was what was called the senior section, but is now Rangers, and I actually came back into guiding to do my DOV volunteering, and it has totally shaped my life, changed my life. So I ended up doing my leadership qualification, and I now run my own unit, as well as assistant leader at another unit, as well as doing district commissioner, and I also help at region for marketing as well. And the job I'm currently in, I got through guiding, in terms of the experience and the skills I gained through guiding are what got me to my job now, as well as my degree, obviously. But it's through the people I knew and the connections I had, which is what led me to what I'm doing now. So if anyone is interested in coming and helping with us, then we'd really appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions?
One of the things we were talking about is enhancing sport facilities in the community. Is that something you'd be willing to cooperate in?
Yeah.
It seems to fit quite well.
If you would like
young ladies, such a lady doing sport,
yeah.
They seem to be missed out in the second best opportunities in that world.
Yeah, most of our units happen to be guinea pigs for anything new. Good. So if you need people to come and test your things out and make sure they work properly, I know lots of girls who'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you very much, Emma.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is a presentation from the Swan Centre, Anna Foster, but she's not here tonight, so our clerk is going to read some of hers.
Summary from Anna, and probably you're all aware of the Swan Project and the fantastic work they do, so I'll just read the summary. It's quite an extensive report, so if anybody would like a copy of the report after the meeting, we have got handouts. But the Swan Youth Project is a registered charity supporting vulnerable children, young people and their families based in Downham Market. Our area is one of the most socially deprived areas in the county of Norfolk, and we are the only locally dedicated youth service. The children, teenagers we help face significant issues, and more than a quarter have mental health issues. West Norfolk has the highest exclusion rate for schools in the whole of Norfolk, and many of our young people have chaotic home lives. We currently have safeguarding concerns for around 25 of our young people, and over the past year we've particularly seen issues with self-harm, anxiety, lack of motivation, aspiration and social functioning, as well as a big increase in family breakdowns, and we believe much of this is due to the lockdown and pressures put on families during this time. Our aim is to provide educational, social and emotional support to around 200 young people each year, with an age group of 8 to 18. We've continued to grow our services in line with the need and demand from our young people and their families, but having to wait to operate waiting lists for both our one-to-one support for mild emergent mental health and our family support due to overwhelming demand. We've recently added the cup of tea therapy to our timetable in January, meaning that 4 young people at a time can have access to vital EMDR or occupational therapy. Catherine, our support worker, brings a high level of support so many young people currently need. We have accessed funding for this to continue until October, and we'll be looking to make this an ongoing service if we can secure funding. Our new bike kitchen has got off to a great start, attracting young people who are causing issues around town. I think we've already heard about some of that this evening. They can come in, get their bikes fixed, grab a snack and make vital connections with a youth worker. We've recently returned from a residential trip to Kingswood with 12 young people, and this was a funded opportunity to experience fantastic activities and team building exercises, which improved mental health and well-being in the process. We hope to make this an annual event. We've accessed 2 rounds of Norfolk Assistance Scheme over the last 6 months, and this has funded 85 families with a £50 voucher to spend on food for the family. So that's just a summary of the work that the Swan Project is doing currently in the town, and as I say, we've got some written reports here should you want to get more details on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 9, to receive a presentation from Downham Market Festival Committee, Denise Wiley.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Denise Wiley, and I'm Secretary of the Downham Market Festival Committee. I've been involved with the festival since 2007. This year it'll be its 46th year, and we'll be celebrating it along with our Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The festival is traditionally organised by the people for the people. We're a small committee and we enjoy what we do, and we do it for our town and the surrounding district. The festival week runs from Saturday, May the 28th until Saturday, June the 4th. We put on events for the local community and try to do suitable things for all age groups. We only charge nominal amounts for these activities so that everyone is able to enjoy them. We usually fundraise throughout the year, so these last 2 years have proven very difficult for us and other organisations locally, but we will survive. We're very grateful to the Council for their continued support, because we wouldn't be able to do it without them. And we're always looking for help with the events, so please contact us if you would like to join us. We do need some more floats for the parade. And our festival programmes will be out this coming week, so please pick them up as you're going around town. And we look forward to meeting you for the 2022 Downham Market Festival and Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denise. The next item is to receive a presentation from Downham Community Fund. That's a written report, and the clerk will read that out for you.
So this is a presentation from the Downham Community Fund. Terry Reid, unfortunately she can't be here tonight, so she sent in a written report, asked us to read it to you, and again, if you want details afterwards, we've got those. So, Terry Reid, a resident of Downham Market, carries out a number of fundraising causes to use that money to support activities within the town. She will be working with the Downham Market Festival Committee, and she'll be based in the town hall during the festival week. You'll see her posters around town and on Facebook. She's asked particularly if we can make you aware of the planned community litter picks, which she runs monthly, starting at 10:30. She provides all of the equipment, which she's purchased through the community fund, and the planned litter picks are on Sunday, the 22nd of May, Sunday, the 26th of June, Sunday, the 24th of July, Sunday, the 28th of August, Sunday, the 25th of September, and Sunday, the 23rd of October. These will be advertised on Facebook, and again, if you want to see us afterwards, if you're interested, we've got those dates. That's that one.
Thank you very much. To receive a presentation from Discover Downham, another written report. Thank you.
Get the money out of me tonight. So this one, again, the Discover Downham team can't be here tonight, so they've sent in a written report. And again, if anybody would like a copy of this afterwards, then we have got some spare copies. Discover Downham has been in its current location at the old fire station, Priory Road, since 2016, having successfully raised the funds to convert the derelict building into the centre it is today. The main objective of Discover Downham is to promote interest in the heritage of Downham Market and the surrounding 34 villages of the Clackclose 100. We do this by collecting and preserving artefacts and documents relating to the area and displaying them in the permanent and temporary exhibitions. We hope that you've been able to view the current temporary exhibition about St Winard's Horse Fair, which is shortly due to be replaced by one on the history of the education in the town called The Best Years of Your Life. Entry to Discover Downham is free and provides a resource which is available for the local people to use, schools and visitors. In spite of the restrictions of lockdown, we've been able to entertain numerous groups of young people, workshops covering topics such as evacuation, Victorian life, how to be a curator, and the history of toys. Our adult programme includes regular family history and local history research meetings, and on talks and topics as varied as RF Downham Market, Hillgate, Four Fees, Norfolk Village Signs, and most recently, a visit from HM Queen Victoria. Does any of our councillors remember that one? No? Don't think so. All details are available from our website. Just Google Discover Downham. When COVID and lockdown first struck, the town walks, which we created as a joint project with U3A, were made available on our website so people could enjoy the town's heritage whilst taking their daily exercise. These walks and exhibitions at the centre provide a focus which helps attract visitors to the town from a wide area. We are entirely self-supporting, run entirely by volunteers, and we've managed to survive COVID closure in spite of having to raise in the region of £9,000 a year to cover maintenance, rent and running costs. This is done partly by hiring the accommodation to a number of independent groups whose activities enhance those of the centre. We also heavily rely on volunteers whose hard work, generosity and dedication raises funds through quizzes, coffee mornings and tabletop sales. The centre is run by Downham Market and District Heritage Society, and the annual membership is £10. It's a very important part of the income. We would encourage you to become members of the society because your £10 helps us keep going and maintains the heritage of this lovely town. As a member, you will get a quarterly magazine, keep in touch with the centre's activities and the town's history. Membership forms are available from Discover Downham. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now have a presentation. From the Downham Market Twinning Club.
Hello,
My name is Caroline Cottrell and I'm Vice Chair of Downham Market Twinning Club, and this is Chris Nunn, who is Exchange Secretary currently. I'd like to give you a little bit about the history of the club. My apologies to those of you who know this already. People started talking about this in the town, councillors in particular, in 1975. Swaffham had already twinned with a town in France, and Downham councillors thought that it would be a good idea to do the same. Lots of investigation went on as to who they could twin with, and they came upon Civray in France, and the charter was signed in 1976 by Tinker Taylor, who I'm sure some of you will remember. Other councillors involved at the time were included Tom Barker and A.T. Johnson. There were actually exchanges between the two towns before the charter was signed, between the councillors, to get to know each other as to whether this was really what the town wanted. A public meeting, quite a large public meeting I understand, was held in the town hall, which was very supportive of the idea. The Twinning Club therefore was formed to run the twinning on behalf of the town council, and it's important to remember that we as a club run it on behalf of the town council. Before COVID, we had exchanges every other year. Every year we had an exchange. One year visitors would come here from France. The next year we would go to France and stay with host families. Obviously we haven't been able to do that for the last couple of years, but we are starting again this year. We also have monthly social events, often to do with food. We enjoy our food, and the French certainly enjoy their food as well, and the exchanges are very much sociable, very much around food. But the monthly meetings vary. Occasionally we have a talk, but often it's to do with food. Every 5 years we've had anniversary exchanges, and the 45th anniversary was actually last year, so we couldn't do that, so we're going to celebrate it this year, and we've invited some French visitors who will be coming to us to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee with us from the 1st to the 6th of June. Cafe Day, I would like to put a little plug in for that. That's on the 29th, Sunday the 29th of May. I think a lot of you enjoy coming to that, and we've missed 2 years, of course, and we're really looking forward to doing that again and hope we'll see some of you there. I'd like to hand over to Chris now, who's going to tell us a little bit about her experience of twinning.
Thank you. Yes, our twinning started when we first moved to Downham Market in 1984. Some of you may know that my husband Steve ran Peeling and Cauldron, the wine shop that was in Wells Court, and he joined before I moved up here with him, because I was still living in Kent, that it would be a good business opportunity. Which, apart from that, we thoroughly enjoyed the monthly meetings that we had, the social events, but we never actually took up being part of the exchanges, because again they were in August, which we didn't do August holidays. The discovery weekends were always around October time when it was stock taking, so we didn't go. But then when the shop closed in 1999, there was a discovery voyage, and he had no excuse not to go. And I said, we're going. So we went. And at that time, it was always, it was by coach. Quite a long journey at that time down to Civray. The coach left the Hollies about midnight and arrived in Civray about 4 or 5 o'clock the next afternoon. We arrived on the coach a minute to midnight. A great cheer went up because a lot of them were unaware that of how we felt about going. And the other side of it was my husband he still doesn't eat cheese or tomatoes, so there was a dietary bit, and going to be in somebody else's house as well. Anyhow, we arrived in Civray, we get paired up with some people, and it was just, and also on the forms we filled in here, whether you speak French or not, as well as the dietary bits. We arrived in the town hall there and discovered the people we'd been put with, they didn't speak any English at all. Our French was just from school. You don't have to necessarily speak French because a lot of them do speak French, but unfortunately for us at this time. Anyway, hurriedly, they arranged for somebody to come to be with us that night, and that spoke English, and we sort of muddled our way sort of through. But by the end of the weekend, it's surprising how much, if you've done French at school, how much comes back. Odd words, perhaps not, conversations, and a dictionary and the wine helped quite a lot. We'd been out on a visit, and we'd bought a case of wine to take back with us, and we'd left it in the car of the people we were staying with. Rosalind, her car was a Citroen. And we spoke to her husband, who then said that, explained about the wine in our bestest French. We said, le vin et or le citron. And there was a hoot of laughter. And then we realised what we said, that the wine was in the lemon. So that was, a bit of hoot, and that was it. Anyhow, we went back the following year for a week's visit, and since then we've done a lot of exchanges between the two, the people we stay with. When they come to us, they come and stay here. When we go to them, we stay with them. We've also done visits outside of Twinning, which is quite an achievement as well, to be able to go. We went to their daughter's wedding. We stayed with another family who we've hosted here, but knew that we couldn't reciprocate because we'd stay with the people we stay with, and so we've done independent visits to them as well. Our French has improved. It's not fluent, but we can have a conversation with them. But the people we stay with, their English is about the same as it was then, petit. But we don't mind, it's great fun, we have great conversations. A lot of the way I do French is I don't worry too much about past, present and future tenses. I just speak it all in the present tense, whether it was yesterday or tomorrow or whatever. But it is good fun. It's very enjoyable to stay with the family and to find out how the French culture is as well. Visit places around in France too. So that was our experience of belonging to Twinning. It certainly enhanced our lives, and the experiences we've had have been very enjoyable. We've kept in touch again over the last 2 years with our family that we visit in French and in France through Facebook and emails. And we've also, again with the Twinning Club itself, had Zoom meetings to keep in contact with them too. We should have been going 2 years ago as a group from Downham, but that was postponed in 2020, again in 2021, and we're hoping to go again in France in August in 2022 in the summer. Yes, yeah. Our membership is £15 for a family per year and £7 for individuals. We also have a website that you can access.
I can agree with Chris that you don't need to speak French to enjoy this. And I do have some old photos, if anybody wants to look at them afterwards, to reminisce about Tinker and one or two people have some very old albums of photos people might be interested in. Thank you.
Merci, très bon. That's my schoolboy French from about 65 years ago. That's about all I can say, I think. Thank you very much. Presentation from Downham Market Football Club. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So first, just thank you for the opportunity to present. Sport, I think, is one of those really important things in the community, and it's something that we as a club want to raise more awareness of and to build out in the community, not just for the youth, but for the community as a whole. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I've got three things I want to talk about. The first one is a bit of context of the club, just to remind everyone that we are here and we do exist. A bit about what our ambitions are and where we see ourselves going, and also just some things that we need some help with. So I'd like to raise those as well. I should just say my name is Alan Boardman. I am the Vice Chairman of the club. I'm the manager of the under-11s team, I'm the parent of a player, and I think actually that's kind of how the club is built up. It's parents of players who've got involved, got stuck in as volunteers to keep the club moving and to keep things going. So, context of the club and how we've grown. We have an adult men's team, currently playing step 6 of the FA Pyramid, and actually this Saturday are playing in the playoff final against Harleston, looking for promotion to step 5, which is quite a senior semi-professional level of football. So that's great for us as a club and as a community. We have 12 youth football teams, ranging from under-7s all the way through to under-18s, which is about over 150 kids. So a lot of kids get involved. We have training for them at the Jubilee Centre at Rouse's Lane. Matches for the first team are at the Memorial Field. So we're split between the two sites, which presents some challenges, but also gives us space to train and to play. We're also now just kicking off, and this is, I guess, a call out or an advert, under 7s for next season, which is the Year 1 children moving to Year 2 next season. We're starting to get a couple of sessions up and running for them to make sure we keep bringing kids in through the club, for the club and for the community. We are a self-funded organisation. We raise funds through fundraising activities, through sponsorship, and we also get grants from the FA where possible. I'm going to come onto that a bit more in a minute. So let's just quickly look at our ambitions. Where do we want to go? Naturally, with the first team being in the playoff final on Saturday, we're looking for promotion. We're looking to get to the highest level of football we can as a town, as a community. That comes with its own challenges. We will then need to, under FA rules, have a 100-seater stand, for example. We'll need to upgrade our floodlights. There are lots of things we need to do for that, and if we don't, then we risk being relegated again thereafter. So having got the team all that way, and credit to the two managers, Dale Stokes and Craig Dixon, for getting them there, we may find ourselves getting dragged back down again. So aspirations to improve our facilities for the first team. A big part of that, and this is sort of really long-term future aspiration now, is an all-weather pitch. So where we are at Jubilee Centre, it does get very wet. We've had to cancel an awful lot of youth football this year, matches and training, because it's too boggy. And without enough floodlighting at Memorial Field, we've got nowhere for the kids to get involved. We also have no access to toilets at Rouse's Lane at the Jubilee Centre, so that's presenting challenges for us as well for welfare for the kids. So we've got to think about how do we move things around to make sure we can keep providing the service that we do. So an all-weather pitch would be great because it means that the adult team could play on there, all of the youth teams could play on there, the community could use it as a whole, and I think that's something that where we as a town probably want to be. I know there's conversations going on around the council on that anyway. That's a long-term aspiration. I think in the short term, we've got to solve the problem in that the youth teams are not able to play football during the winter, or as much as they should. So we're looking at, can we move some things around? Could we move the youth matches to the Memorial playing field, for example, and then use the Jubilee Centre just for training, so we can manage the use of the grass and not wear it all out? So that's an option for us. We could also have a small training area, perhaps, at the Memorial Field. So there's lots of options. We're talking to the borough, we're talking with the town council, and we're trying to get some of these things moving, which is where I come on to the things that we need help with. So we are a small committee. We're all volunteers. We all have day jobs. We all have children who are in football who are taking up our time as well. We need to grow the committee. We really do need help and support from those who are keen to get involved, can spare a little bit of time. We meet every 3 weeks, and we try and just share out as much as we can to keep the club moving forward. So there's a big shout out in the room, through YouTube, wherever this is going out. Anyone who wants to join our committee, you can find us on social media, on our website, or get in touch with me directly, and I'm happy to share contact details afterwards. But that would really help us because it means we can accelerate some of the things that we want to get going. The second thing we need help with is around navigating permissions and the like. So I said we might want to move some of the youth teams to the Memorial Field. To do that, we need to think about welfare. So we would need to put a changing facility or a toilet facility near the back pitches on that field. And we don't know how to get around planning permission, or not get around, how to work with councils on planning permissions and the like. So we need some help navigating whatever processes we need to follow. So again, open to open to any help that might be forthcoming on that one. I said before we're self-funded, so we do get funds in through sponsors and through our fundraising activities as a committee. We also have access to grants from the FA, but in order to get those, we need to prove that we have a lease. And the leases at the Jubilee Centre are annual, renewed annually. We need to demonstrate we have 10 years. So there's some work we need to do to perhaps try and build out how can we write into that agreement that we have it for 10 years, we can access this funding, and therefore we can develop the facilities for the children and for the community. It's the same with the memorial playing field. We need to demonstrate to the FA that we have a lease in place, so therefore we can access funding for the things we need to do, particularly if we do get promoted. The upgrades to the floodlights alone are going to cost upwards of £20,000, which we can get 75% funding for if we can demonstrate we have a lease. So hopefully a relatively straightforward thing to sort out, so therefore we can solve the problem and keep the team in that higher league where we want them to be. And then the final thing, again, I sort of asked already about support in the committee, but also we do a lot of events as well. You know, come down on a Saturday. Obviously, we're about to come into the off season now, but come down on a Saturday and see the team play. It's a small entrance fee on the gate. Come and support them. Come and get involved. It's normally quite a good atmosphere. Come and get involved in some of we've got quiz nights coming up. We've got golf days. We've also got a formal black tie ball we're going to hold here in the town hall in October. So all these sorts of events, it's kind of reliant on the community getting involved, and hopefully they're fun as well. So it's something you can come enjoy yourself and support the club at the same time. So those are the three things I really wanted to cover. I've rabbited through fairly quickly because I know you're short on time, but I do appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you today. And I'm happy to talk to anybody afterwards about it if you're interested.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very informative. Thank you. Presentation on Downham Market welcomes Ukrainians. Borough Councillor Ratcliffe.
Thank you and good evening everyone. The Downham Market Welcomes Ukrainians is a new growing sort of community support network for some local families local households who signed up on the Homes for Ukraine government scheme to host Ukrainian refugees here who are obviously fleeing from the war. A few families joined. They found that the visa system is quite complex and slow, and then it's finding out what schemes are available to help refugees when they're here. There are lots of organisations who are very keen to help, but it's finding the information is not all in one place at the moment. So we're looking to build a network that supports the host families and the Ukrainian guests and all the keen people who are wanting to support those households, like myself. So we do now have a few local families who've received their Ukrainian guests, and they're navigating all of these processes. So we're available to give advice. If anyone is interested in finding out more about becoming a host for a Ukrainian household, then we can offer advice. I can either take questions here, we'll speak to people at the end, or we can also arrange for a confidential chat if you'd just like to know more about the process. We have a Facebook group. I know not everyone's on Facebook, but for those of you who are, we have a Downham Market Welcomes Ukrainians Facebook group, and quite a few local organisations are putting information in there about how they can support refugees and what services they have, such as the library, the Swan Centre, and some of the other community groups that we have here. This Sunday morning, we have a coffee morning. So we're progressing now from just Facebook discussions to social events. So we have a coffee morning this Sunday. So if you'd like to come and meet some friendly faces, local hosts, and some of our Ukrainian guests, please see me afterwards and I'll let you know details. Or ask me if you've got any questions. So it's just to let you know that we do have this community building up now, and we are hoping that we will get a network, in particular to support the Ukrainians that are coming to live in West Norfolk, at least for the foreseeable future until they can return home, or if they want to establish their lives in the UK. Some are moving on to education and work already. Within West Norfolk, we're aware that 55 households have been inspected under the Homes for Ukraine scheme, and I think around a dozen of those have actually got their guests now across the district. So there is a bit of a movement growing. So that's very good news. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you. Downham Market Community Speedwatch Team, Councillor Bullen. Borough Councillor Bullen. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. This is a straightforward invitation. Before COVID broke out, we were discussing with the police about establishing a community speedwatch team, and we need 6 people to come forward to volunteer. The police provide all the training and the equipment. We already have 2 names of people who would be interested. I think we've all witnessed some bad driving and speeding within the town. Only the other day, I was following a car up Bexwell Road and we were both overtaken. It does concern me, and there is a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit out here, which I think a lot of people ignore. So it's just a straightforward, if you know anyone or you yourselves would like to volunteer, please make yourself known to the town council at the offices. They'll pass on the details. We've got the full support of the police. I'm in touch with Joe, and we can get things up and running pretty quickly. We all know the reasons behind a community speedwatch team, so I don't need to explain that any further. That is all I have to say.
How long will this how long will we be doing this?
Well, it's really up to you. It needs a core of 6 people. You need 1 leader for the team and then 5 support people. There's a lead time to actually get it up and running, because we have to have access to the equipment. But it's as long a commitment as you need, but it will struggle if you have less than 6 people. So you can have more than 6 people, but 6 people allows us to draw on people to, I think you need 3 people at any one time manning the equipment.
Will it be weeks you'll be doing it, or will it just...
It's an ongoing commitment. Yeah. And I think it's probably one of those things that get a momentum. Once it's established, I think people will see it actually in action and come forward. So I think the most important thing is to get this off the ground.
Okay, so it's not just a one-off?
No.
To see where we need different speed limits. It's a permanent ongoing...
It is. So it's a roving team throughout the town. I think the speed cameras are a separate issue. So, yes, as I say, it's establishing this for the long term. So please go and see the town council offices if you'd like to get involved.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
The next one is presentation from Downham Amateur Dramatic Society. Dads? No? Nobody? Thank you very much. I'm informed it might be arriving late, so we might have to go back on that one. Sorry. Yeah. Presentation on helping urban wildlife in the town. Councillor Bullen.
Me again.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm really here talking on behalf of a new Downham Market wildlife group, which was established a few months ago. One of the leaders, Tim Bennett, actually had a stroke the other day, and which I'm pleased to say he's making some good recovery. But we're very fortunate in Downham Market. We've got some very knowledgeable people about wildlife. I've been very passionate about urban wildlife because, whether we like it or not, we do share our environment with animals, vertebrates, you name it. There's amazing things you can see in the town. Only recently we've had an osprey and a white stork flying over the town. We have hedgehogs, we have foxes. I walk the dog most days in St Edmunds Cemetery, and we have chiffchaffs and blackcaps, and we had nightingales last year. There's so much which we can learn, but I personally believe we have to live with wildlife in gardens or actually in the town. So we're asking the town council and the communities to consider wildlife. We're talking about hedgehog highways. We're proposing maybe a nest box trail in the town. So position nest boxes in areas where maybe young people are, like playgrounds. Personally, I'd like to see swift boxes put up in the tower of the town hall. And what a marvellous thing that would be. They're under a great deal of threat. They're just arriving back from Africa now. Planting of insects, attracting plants by the council in planters rather than just random plants. Not cutting back grass verges so much to encourage wildlife. Planting of native trees and hedges wherever possible. And I think, during lockdown, it was demonstrated quite well, and I think recognised by government that engagement with wildlife is very good for mental health and enjoyment. It doesn't matter where you live. You can be in a flat, an apartment. You can have a pot with a lavender plant in it, and you can attract bees. And what's not to like? So I think get a bit of momentum. As I say, we've got some very knowledgeable people, a number of them here tonight, and we'd like to share that knowledge. And we're so fortunate we have Welney down the road, we have the river, some wonderful environments just on our doorstep. So I'd like to think we can all enjoy it. So working together, I think it can be for the benefit of everybody. That's what we're proposing. If anyone has any questions, please.
No, I've got a little thing about that though. I know somebody in Downham who in their garden has got a vixen, a vixen, and she's got 7 cubs.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's...
I often see foxes when I walk the dog at night, so...
Yeah.
Tony?
Yes. With the wildlife, it's very nice. We've got to live with it. On the hand, we've got to keep it under control as well. We're doing less cutting on the side of the road than we ever did. The only trouble is, it has been causing quite a few accidents on corners and that sort of thing. So each year I cut in between the stags and just all the way around it so people get through, with whatever carriage they have. So at the same time, saving it, we make sure that people still get through.
No, I can't agree with that. To be a balance. And obviously at junctions, vitally important. I don't think there's any argument there. I can't agree with you.
I'm just saying, we've got to keep it together, and that's one of most complaints I have is usually because they haven't cut the side of the road, that sort of thing. And you've got to remember in the countryside there are paths. We haven't got tarmac everywhere. When you
Sure.
walk down the road, you have to walk it.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's me.
And the next one is Frances Rayner. She's going to be late, I'm told. To receive a report from County Councillor Tony White.
Hey, I'm Councillor Tony White. My main problems are highway problems. And the thing is, I get emails in. I had one in yesterday. The towers. We all know where the towers are. Trouble is, when the people go to the centre next door and the vans, they're all parked around the towers. And that's been quite a problem. The only trouble is, I go there and I put yellow lines in. What do? I move it down the road. But on the other hand, the people in the towers don't care where it goes, because that's not blocking their entrances off. And summer repairs. Off of Bennett Street, off Railway Road into Bennett Street, from the traffic lights down at Diamond House, there's a path on the right hand side what's got to be repaired. I've paid to have that done through my allowance. But I mean, trouble is, when do it get done? What's happened also, we're going to do a drop curb on the London Road so people can just get across, you know, with one of their buggies, or whatever we call these things these days. Well, I have to be careful what words I use, because if not, I get shot down. In the next couple of days, I'm going to walk around with the highways officer to see some of the problems. I guarantee you they'll all be fixed. But if anybody has got anything, some old bones. But the thing is, if you can email me, it makes it easier, because if not, it's a he said, she said. But if you got an email, at least I can pass that on. Then they've got a reply to the email. Other than that, we did have another one, which one of the councils at the back, they keep praising me about. It was a TRO we had with double yellow lines outside his shop and outside Bird's Mill. It is going through. What's happening at the moment, we got these people working from home, and I don't know if you had any problems with it, but I tell you what, it's a bloody nightmare to read through it, because every time you want somebody, they're at home. You can't go into the office because nobody there. So I'm hoping that we can get some of these people back to work so we can actually get to them again. If there's anything else you want to ask me? Good. That's what
I like to ask questions. You've got Russell's Circus up on the Bexwell Roundabout.
Big one.
Did you hear that?
Say that again.
You've got Russell's Circus on the Bexwell Roundabout.
Yeah.
Right? Next door to that, there are 4 bungalows. The grass is now at a height. And every year we have to ask the same question, why don't highways cut it? And every year they get onto you, yeah, and every year you get it cut. Once a year. And of course it grows quite high now. But if you're in a car, you cannot see anything coming up from Swaffham on the A1122. So can you not get it done more than once a year?
Well, no, it's policy now to only cut the side of the road once a year till they cut the side. In the urban areas, they do it 3 times. Why is that? You know, we could already have once. I fight the county board to get it done more, and then all of a sudden we get, you know, Andy Sam. People want wildlife there. Which come first?
I think the owner would be pleased to hear that.
Well, it's a fact. Well, you know, it says, each time you ask me, I get it cut. Perhaps you'll have to ask me more regular.
There is a problem, because people say to me, I've tried to get Tony on the telephone, I've sent him emails, I don't get a response.
Well, I can tell you what, then they are wrong. Because I can tell you what, I answer every email, and I tell you what, if there's a phone call there, I go and see them. Tell them, see me, or if they like, you don't stand there and tell me that.
I'm the messenger. I'm just passing on what
yeah, well, get the right message, then it'll be all right.
Oh, careful.
Right? No, that's a fact.
Sorry. Hi.
Yes.
As a, not representing Morrison's, but just as someone in the community, can I just ask why we have a crossing near Tesco's, but we don't have a crossing, an actual zebra crossing or anything for pedestrians on this side of the one-way system? Because, like, I know I've got young children and things, and there's just no actual safe area to cross the road on this side of the one-way system. Over that side, obviously, everyone stops on that half of the one-way, but on this half, there's just nothing.
There's two that way. There's one outside Tesco, there's another one down just off the fire station.
But there's none on this side, and like for market days, everyone parks at the Hollies car park, they park over on our side of the town, but there's no safe space across the road on this side of the one-way. So just as a, you know, I just think I live right in the town centre, I walk around in the town quite a lot, and market days we're such busy, bustling town, and obviously on our side over there, there's just no safe places to cross, and even though the highways code has changed, people do not stop to let you pass it, and it's a busy, busy road, and I just feel that there needs to be something on this side of the one-way system for safe crossing. So if I could just put that forward, that'd be great.
Could you actually just drop me an email to that?
Absolutely, Tony.
No, I tell you why, because then I can pass it on to county board.
Yeah.
You know, then you know, some positive,
Yeah, definitely.
you know, then they've got to come back to me. I
Perfect.
more or less tell you what's going to happen. No. But on the other hand, at least I've got something to fight for.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you ever so much.
Yeah.
In response back to that question there.
Oh, yes, sorry.
There is a small funding pot for road safety study which hasn't been conducted yet, but that can form part of the question for the road safety study. I hope that answers your question, Tony.
Yeah, just so we have our statistics come through, for, as I'm talking now on Morrison's behalf, we had statistics come through, and our shoppers who come to Morrison's are actually people on foot. So we know that the majority of our customers are people that walk to us. They're not actually customers that come to us via car. They either come by bus or they do walk from the local town. So that's just as a statistic side from our point of view. It is a majority
I agree with you.
store. So,
yeah. You know, we send it, and we're talking, you know, what we said about cameras. I don't know of any more left.
Can go towards a camera, but what I can do is look, because I have 10,000 a year for highway things. Normally that costs me about 4,000 or 5,000 to cut all through the lanes and from Liston all the way through. But what I can do is see if I can actually use some of that and see if I can get any extra money, if there is any extra money for the cameras.
Just to ask, the Zebra crossing, which just reminded me, that's next to the Discover Downham, there is no warning sign for that zebra crossing, and often if you try to cross there, you're in danger. You've got to, the cars come down that road, and they're terrible. If they had a warning sign, that would help.
You mean the opposite old fire station?
Yes,
Yeah,
opposite
yeah.
the old fire station. That is really dangerous. At times I've stepped and then had to step back. Yeah, we do. Yeah. There's no speed limit, you see. It's a private road.
There is a 3 days down that, 20 mile an hour.
Well, I haven't seen that one. No, but isn't it pick up after a certain point? I think you're fine. Just after Tesco's, it goes to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, just after Tesco's, after the second crossing of Tesco's, on the Parry Road. So
Yes,
they start
it's a 20 mile limit up to Tesco's.
Yes, and then it goes.
Crossing, but just after that, then it's 30.
Yes. So it's 30 coming up to that zebra crossing.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't look at when with the high-rise officer. You know, I ask him to have a look into it, and if there should be one there, there'll be one there.
Tony, I live on Grimshoe Road. When you built the new bit, or they built the new bit down the bottom, that was 20 miles an hour. They come over the ramp, hit the back of my house, and they zoom up there at about 40, 50 miles an hour. Why?
Sam again, is it possible just give me an email on that? You know, and just explain it, just so, you know, because we keep opening the door down, but if I can actually have...
Yeah, I understand that, but why in the first place...
I don't know.
Were the developers allowed to have 20 miles an hour at the bottom, and then 30 miles an hour in a space of...
Yeah, no, some of that might come under borough through the planning. I'm not planning, you know, moving one train to the other, but some of that might be under the borough.
Tony, who owns the hedge at the top of Trafalgar, right at the top of Trafalgar Road, London Road, on the top there, because that's actually taken up 18 inches of that path out onto London Road, and it really needs 18 inches cutting back so you can have a full width of the path, because if you're walking down there, you have to step out in the road and you're meeting somebody coming the other way. So whoever's it is, if they get their chainsaw, hedge trimmer, and just take 18 inches off on the path side, and that'll make that a little bit easier. I think there's 2 bits there actually, right near the house as well.
I'll talk to you afterwards so I know where it is. You know, I say more or less know where it is, but at the end of the day, that's what it is.
See what happened with highway problems?
Could I just ask Tony, I think I probably asked you before, but,
Maybe.
I will actually email you. The London Road junction, what I've mentioned to you before, where it comes out onto the A110, to go across to Denver. Very dangerous junction there. Hedge in there, like there's not been cut, sufficiency sometimes to see lorries and cars coming from the left to Denver. Accidents nearly every week. I would say you'll hear screeching tyres, closed escapes. Is there the chance of the sound camera being put in on that junction to slow people down? Because they're coming at 78 mile an hour from Wisbech Way, and they're probably doing 70 mile an hour coming over the hill from by the Denver junction. Out of your budget and your money to save a load.
I think maybe you might be able to help yourselves. In downtown council, you have some stands.
Is it like your
after flashing lights?
Your district? I think downtown council stops just before that, doesn't it?
Well, posters before that, then so they can see it in the first instance.
Is it not highways? Is that not your district then?
All the districts of mine, in Denver and everywhere, but I mean, because I'm doing, I do Norfolk. But the thing is, if you want, to slow them down, I try and help to slow them down. If you have a really bad chance, but you're on, put a post up. I put one down to Falcon Road and put a SAM on, and apparently that's even picked up. You don't have it here all the time. You only put it in, take it away. So if you leave it there all the time, people will take notice of it. If you put it here short periods, people do take notice of it.
So is it highways your department to put a post in on that busy bypass road?
Yes. So I can't, at 60 mile an hour, it's standard 60 mile an hour road, I can't follow that. If people do 90, you take one down there, they're breaking the law. Whatever you say about it, you can't legislate against idiots, I think it's true.
Can you tell us what connection the Norfolk County Council has with the Sixth Form College site?
I can tell you, Councillor Pennington asked me that question at the last council meeting. I asked her to send me an email. I got it before last. And I have sent it in to the county hall, and they've been looking at it through the property department. So whenever that comes back, come back, we'll see what the reply is.
Can you let us know how it's going to change and what implications there are for us?
Well, I'll see who owns it first. If we see who owns it first, that means you should just how do you the council stand there, somebody from Cambridge, I don't know who owns it. So at least if we put it in the property department, if it belongs to us, then we might have to answer some questions, some answers. If they don't belong to us, then we'll have to go back to the ones we do own.
Going back to the bypass, wouldn't it be an idea if we put maybe a 50 mile an hour speed limit on there? You've got a railway level crossing at the bottom, you can see them coming down, and the lights go on and they're straight at that crossing.
It's 40 down there.
It's not down, yeah, it's just right when you get to the very end of it. But they're coming down that hill, lorries as well, they're coming piling down there. There's a right turn into the Falder estate. It's a combination waiting to have a major accident.
I can always ask for a TRO to go on as a traffic regulation order. The only trouble is that costs £6,700 to submit it.
If a lorry runs out, it's going to cost a lot more than £6,000.
I'm just
sorry.
On economics as well. So I can ask all these things. I can more or less tell you what the answers are. That, you know, because we don't have one accident rate, haven't been an accident. I know it's going to have an accident beforehand, but I'm afraid that's how some of these things work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in this country,
well, I can't go for the whole country. I'm just saying how I stand in the country.
I don't think it's
a lot of money is spent on roads in the country.
Yeah, but what?
After
Yeah,
fatality.
but when you look at it down the market, you know, on the highway things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to keep asking about motorists speeding because council might can't control their speed. You know, it's difficult. And the money is
so this
not
is
there.
where we always get this, you know, on the highways, even all day, every day. I get this sort of thing all day, every day. And people don't always get what they want. And this is why I always get the same question asked each time. You know, but then that comes back to the same, do you get the same answer?
I mean, it goes back to say the cameras are a deterrent because it reminds people of what speed they're doing. Otherwise, you wouldn't put cameras in certain areas. And also, it is important because if it takes someone to die before a camera can be put off, then that shouldn't really happen because of the money.
I don't make them regulations, I already have to buy one.
Is there not a borough grant available for highways for these safety cameras to save a life?
I don't know.
Does your speed check, will that cover that road?
There are certain places where you can put community speed checks.
That's what I'm wondering, if the road, if people just do the speed check.
The speed checks are governed by the police and they tell you where you go. You can't just go anywhere. You have to do it where they tell you.
I did mention to a policeman about a certain road, and I noticed we had...
But I do find these sounds make quite a bit of difference.
Yeah, we can only deploy the sound cameras on roads that are rated at 30 miles an hour or less. We can't put them on speed.
So when we put it's doing well now, but he talked about coming down to the junction before you go left or right.
Again, the town...
So if you want, just after traffic.
The sounds, the town council has to put them where the police want to.
Yeah.
You know, we can't just put them anywhere.
No, but you can apply it to put somewhere.
We can look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much.
Is that all?
Sorry about that.
No,
that's good.
That's no
it's
problem
good.
to me.
You've brought up a lot of good points there, and there are big restrictions and constraints these days at the moment. You know, we all know that. So hopefully we'll get some of it done at some time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't mind the questions, and you know, they don't bother me at all. But you know,
it's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't
you
know
have to
when's
accept
healthy for you.
what I say.
Do you still take part in the parish partnerships with the county council? Because that's where we got the funding from, with the county council for the cameras, didn't you?
Yes.
So you do still take...
The parish partnership still runs at certain times.
SAMs are under that.
Yeah.
They get funding.
I haven't seen them about lately, but I'll find out about that.
It should be every year, but they might...
Yeah, I think they have.
I don't want I would do a meeting up any further.
I think they've been shelved for a little while, but they will come back. I'll ensure on that
very soon.
Thank you, Councillor White. We're going to go back now. I see. Where are we? What number is that? Here we are. Item 18. I see Francis has just come in. Yeah? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi. Thanks for inviting me. Just got a few notes. So I've come to... So I'm Frances Rayner. I'm just a member of the community who has been working on, well, my first project I've worked on has been nearly 10 years now, so the Downham Games. So for anybody who hasn't heard of the Downham Games, we set the games up, a group of volunteers in 2012, to celebrate the 2012 London Olympics. So it's been happening. So this is our 10th anniversary year. Unfortunately, we've had 2 years without the Games due to COVID, which is a great shame, but obviously the same with any event that's had to postpone. So we're really, really proud to be back. We have thanked the Town Council for our grant this year for it's helped to pay for public liability insurance, which is always really expensive, so that's really good. But for anybody who doesn't know about the Games, very, very quickly, 5th of June this year, it takes place at the Memorial Fields. It's an absolute free event, so nobody, well, in the part, the last time the Games was held, we have an athletics competition, and it costs children £1 to enter, and everybody, and adults £2, and it just gets everybody a medal. So, but this year we've managed to secure some local businesses to provide us with extra sponsorship, so the whole event is free this year. So the whole idea is that there's no barrier to coming in and taking part, and parents can bring their family along and know that they haven't got to dip their hand in their pocket for very much indeed, except for maybe a burger or a donut. So lots of free activities. It's all about sport and physical activity. So we've got athletics, we've got tennis, we've got archery, we've got squash, we've got some football coaching, we've got fencing this year. We've got absolutely loads of things going on, and it takes place from about 10:30 in the morning, and we're all finished by about 2:30. So it's just the morning. If you want to know more about the Downham Games, we have a Facebook page, and we also have an Instagram page as well. So if you want to go on and have a little look, things are building on the pages now, so giving out lots of information. So that's the Downham Games. The other thing I've been asked to talk about is Park Run. So I don't know whether anybody is aware of Park Run coming to Downham. So Park Run is a national, international event. It takes place every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. anywhere in the UK, anywhere in Europe, anywhere across the world actually. Always the same time, always on a Saturday. So we started setting up Park Run just before COVID, well, probably the year before COVID. It took a long time because Park Run is a brand, so we have to convince Park Run that Downham Market is a great place for it to come. We have to secure some funding, so we had to get nearly £4,000 together to pay Park Run to bring the event to Downham, and that covers things like public liability insurance and some equipment and things that we need. And we also had to find volunteers that would be happy to help it run, and we had to find a venue. So it's a 5-kilometre run, walk, anybody can come. It doesn't matter about your ability, what you can do, whether you've run before or whether you've walked very far. But the whole idea is you come along, you take part, you get a barcode that they scan, and then you get a text on your phone to tell you how you got on. So you can kind of build on it week by week. So it's seen as a bit of a mass participation event, really. So it's to get most people out, enjoying themselves, enjoying the fresh air, getting fit, getting active. This Saturday is our 9th week, and we are, you'll find us at Downham Market Academy, and we're actually called Downham Market Academy Park Run. That is the name. Again, many thanks to the Town Council who helped us with £1,000 towards the money that we had to get together. So we got a grant from their grant scheme, which was really greatly needed at the end because the money became a little bit of an issue. This is our 9th week. We're getting about 100 people a week turning out. We have 12 volunteers every week that put their time and effort into making that happen. And it's bringing loads of visitors to the town. We probably, over half of those people that come on a Saturday morning are coming into the town from other areas. So it might be they're coming from Littleport, or it might be that they're coming from somewhere up north. Park Run is a phenomena that gets people travelling around the country, enjoying the same run at the same time on the same day, but they just love going somewhere different. So, you know, it's a great opportunity. Again, we've got a Facebook page, people asking there all the time, where can we go for breakfast? So we're posting people into the town, to cafes and things to come and really make the most of the facilities here. So it's a really, really fantastic thing for Downham. Put us on the map of Park Run, and yeah, and if you want to come and see, then just come up and come and walk it, because, you know, some people run it in as quick as 20 minutes, some people are taking a whole hour. So it really, really doesn't matter. So that's Parkrun, and many thanks to the volunteers, because without those volunteers that wouldn't take place. And the final thing to talk about is the Howdale Play Park, and I come here with great pleasure really to stand up here and talk about something that I thought it would be many, many months, maybe years before we could stand up and say this was actually going to happen. So it would have been spring 2021, a very small community group which I was part of. We set up to really look at the Howdale and how better we could, you know, what could we do with the Howdale and the play park that was already there. The community, people were saying that they wanted to see better equipment, they wanted more there for their children to play on, children of all ages. So very small, it's about 6 of us. We had a few meetings. We engaged with a few organised companies who could come and talk to us about what we could do with that space. They drew some plans up. And we then started to talk about fundraising, because we were looking to do anything of any significance on the Howdale. We were looking at about £100,000. So, but the group was absolutely prepared to do some fundraising. You know, everybody felt so passionate about that this was absolutely needed for Downham Market. So that was the route we were going down. And then we then got an invite to go and meet with Councillor Stuart Dark, at the Borough Council, because it's Borough Council land. So we took some plans, went off to see Stuart Dark, showed him what we wanted, discussed it with him, and he very promising. He said he would go away, talk to the council, start to look at how they could get involved with this. And in a very kind of really short period of time, they showed their support, and through SIL funding, through the Borough Council, they've come up with the £100,000 that we need, and a new play park is going to be built on the Howdale by the 22nd of July this year. So, yeah. Well, I think it's a round of applause to everybody involved in that, and I think that really shows what can be achieved if people get their heads down and really get on with something. We did surveys with the community. We talked to, I think we had probably over, you know, we had well over 150, nearly 200 responses. We stood in the town one Saturday and we talked to the community, showed them the plans, talked to them about what we want. So we knew we had, you know, the community behind us. We got the Borough Council behind us, and actually now the Borough Council are running with this, and the community group is sitting in the background, kind of just keeping a bit of a check on what's going on, hopefully. So, yeah, so again, there's a Facebook page for that and an Instagram page. So if you want to keep up to date with what's happening with the play park, we'll be putting up there as soon as we've got the finalised plans. They'll be going on there, and they'll be available to people to have a look at. So, all right.
Thank you very much, Francis. When you get spare time?
Sorry?
When do you get any more spare time to do something else?
No. Yes.
I'd like to ask a question. Yes. What's going to happen to the old equipment from the Howdale Park?
So, well, that will be removed, and the Borough Council will use that, whatever, elsewhere, dispose of it. You know, I mean, to be honest, some of it is not really fit for purpose anymore. If it was being put into the ground now, regulation would, you know, can be there because it's been there a long time. But if it was to be put into, you know, regulation wouldn't cover it, so it's very difficult to move on.
I was contacted by a member of another parish that I don't look after, saying they are desperately needing play equipment.
Oh, okay.
Of course, like most parishes, they're a bit short of funds.
Right.
But if you think it's not fit for purpose, I'll go back to them and tell them that.
Well, I mean,
speak to somebody I know.
So I think to be honest, you know, they talk to the Borough Council maybe, but definitely we wouldn't have any say in that anyway. Yeah.
Do you have any idea when you want to start this? I only ask because Carnival.
Yeah.
Will it be safe to equipment or whatever might be up there?
Yeah, from what I can understand, yeah, they know about the carnival, because when I went to a meeting at the Borough Council after they'd said that the funding was going to be available, we talked about the carnival, and yeah, so they saw no issues with that. And I think if there was, they know the carnival's taken place, so they would be discussing that with the carnival committee anyway. But it will be secured. I mean, nothing's going to be left. Everything will be, from a health and safety perspective, it will be secured anyway. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
thank you very
Okay,
much.
all right.
Thank you. Yes, I think we owe Frances a lot. She does a lot in this town. Right, the next one is to receive the Chair's report, me. Before I go into that, I have a couple of announcements to make. Firstly, I was informed tonight that Lady Rose Hare passed away at the weekend. She was in her 90s. She was well known. She did a lot of work round about the area, the town, etc. And our condolences go to everyone who knew her, and friends and family. I also want to introduce our new clerk, Graham Sparks. He's just taken over. I wish him all the luck. It's not the public, it's the councillors he has to worry about. Anyway, I really haven't got much to say, as I've only been back on the council a matter of weeks, and I'm not in possession of full facts of the previous months. All I can say is that the council is now looking forward and looking to the future and hopefully changing things for the better. It is easy for me to say, but we are trying to move away from the past and facing new challenges, and with several new councillors we are looking towards new horizons. One area of progress has been to see the market returning to a thriving place where we can see happy faces and people chatting again. We will get things wrong, but hopefully we can realise mistakes and rectify them in good time. No organisation is perfect, but you, the public, put us here to do the job of looking after the town of Downham Market. We are custodians of the town and the council finances, your money, and you expect us to do our work to the best of our abilities. Next year is the year for local elections, and it will be up to you to have your say in who you want to be on the council. I and the rest of the councillors are looking forward to the coming year with the new mayor and to settling down to work for you. Thank you very much. Move on to a report from the Chair of Finance, Councillor Lawson.
Good evening, everybody. Keep it simple. We've looked at the finances recently. The DMTC's finances are in good state with a healthy general reserve and what appears to be a robust enough earmarked reserve for the projects that have been identified. For some budget lines, the burn rate is lower than was budgeted at the start of the year when the preset was defined. The most obvious example is for staffing, as there was budget provision for a higher headcount than we have currently. For some budget lines, we should expect actual costs to exceed what has been budgeted, as there are inflationary pressures of all sorts starting to trickle through. The most obvious examples will be fuel for the van and electricity for both the DMTC offices and the town hall. These are common things which we live with everywhere. Budgets will need to be revisited after May to fit with whatever changes we made as a result of the realignment of committees. We are planning to realign some of the committees and to simplify and standardise the structures. As it is known that the committee structure needs rebalancing. Things were changed over the last few years, and we need to get them back into balance. This means that some budgets may be amalgamated. However, there will be no major reworking of the annual budget totals, and the work for defining the budgets for the next financial year will not start realistically until the second half of the business year. Some budget allocations have not been used as intended, and the planned work is still to be done. It is intended that this work will be done as soon as possible to complete before the 2023 elections. And there's a bit of neighbourhood plan, which we talked about earlier, for the speed survey, the road safety survey, money which has never been used. And I believe there's some funding for the work on car park strategy group, which has not been completed properly. We have an area of work to be done on governance, as has been mentioned already, where we need to put some appropriate corrections into place Governance needs to be applied to the ways in which committees have delegated authorities and spending powers to ensure they are consistent with local government norms and proper ways of working. Work has started to try to identify sources of funds for a range of projects to try to make projects as close to cost neutral as possible. For many sources of funding, one needs to have a feasible project already identified. We talked about this for the various different sporting activities and things like this. And the previous speaker was talking about fund runs and everything else. Funding is needed for some of these things to kickstart them, but often the self-funding with they manage to recover money from subscriptions, etc., during on the day, but still need to be funded to get these things up and running. Some of the existing projects are being restructured into a quantity of smaller projects to attract the appropriate funds. One of the things we discovered is that going for the big pot of money at the end of the rainbow doesn't always work. You actually need to go for funding of smaller, more manageable, digestible portions, and it's much easier to attract smaller amounts of money. For example, National Lottery, if you go into that for the under 10,000, it's a simple form filling exercise. Somebody did one a few weeks ago. 2 ladies spent half an hour filling in the form. 3 weeks later, they got the £10,000. So if you go for the large-scale funding ones, which are 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 million, you can take 3 years to get the result, and you're not guaranteed to get it then. So there's different ways of skinning that particular cat. A lot of new projects have been identified, and new project ideas trickle in almost daily. We still need to start work to catalogue these projects. You can't just do randomly out there. You actually have to organise the way you're going about work. So, and then we need to prioritise the work and funding priorities. Not the projects that are already work in progress. This prioritisation will happen after May, once we get the new people bedded down into their new roles. It is anticipated that some projects will be self-funding, but will require upfront DMTC support, as I said earlier, and or staff. Don't forget, we have to have staff time as well to support lots of these things. So a lot of the activity takes place in the office, where we don't actually see the cost, because it's the cost is the labour of a first-class staff we have supporting us in these endeavours. As a similar comment has been raised earlier, if anyone has ideas for community-based, community-focused projects and events, please come forward. Please tell us. Please ask. Just call us up. Send in an email. Get the mental juices working. We want people to come forward and suggest things. If they know the source of funds, grants, X, Y, Z, it doesn't really matter. The people like Mick George Foundation, who funds lots of stuff. If there are other people, other businesses out there that fund things, the Port Authority, the Environment Agency, it doesn't really matter what it is, we'll take your money. And as long as it's done to a good cause. The final thing is we still haven't got the audit report for the last financial year, so I can't say anything about that. But we want contributions from as many people as possible, ideas, where we can go for money. It's not to top up our coffers, it's so we can do good things for the community. We can't just depend on these preset funds, we need to get lots of other funds. The JCC, these guys here have been battling for the JCC in the town hall for many a year, haven't you? Money is needed. It doesn't grow off the magic money tree, we actually need to go out and get it from somewhere. And there are ways to do it, and hopefully you lot will be able to help us get it. Thank you very much.
Firstly, I'm very disappointed to see there were no St George's flags put up. When I was in business, I bought flags for every shop in this town. Have you put any money aside to put flags up for the Queen's Jubilee? If not, why not?
Simple answer, I do have no idea. But can we have some St Andrews flags up as well?
And we have got a Jubilee flag coming.
So I want to see Jubilee, St Andrews up at the sunflower, that was burns me.
Have you got the budget to buy flags for the town?
I don't know because that would. Thank you for that one. And I've seen you in the kills. Right.
I understand that the flags are already available. They were purchased and stored in the town hall, but the place where they were stored seems to have disappeared.
Aha. I'm not taking any accountability for any of that. Do we know?
We're looking into that one, and Jubilee flags were in discussion with Borough Council because we've got an agreement with them to supply quantity of flags for the Jubilee.
Well done. Anyone? Thank you.
Very much. Next one is an update on car park charges. Councillor Pyatt.
I always get the short straw, don't I? At an extraordinary meeting on the 6th of September 2018, the Council proposed, based on the evidence available, the Car Park Management Strategy Subcommittee recommends for the health and the growth of the town that a partner strategy is required to manage the parking in the town, and this includes application for pay and display parking for Downham Market Town Council's car parks. From that meeting, an investigation was ongoing, the last car park meeting being December 2019. Our next meeting is planned June 2022. The town-owned car parks cost you, the residents and the council taxpayers, a considerable amount. Annual business rates on all car parks, together with other costs, currently the amount to at least £54,633.33. We have just carried out some essential work, some essential repairs, and this expense is ongoing. How much longer are you, the residents, going to subsidise your car parks? You would be better off closing the car parks and building houses on them. I know this is not going to happen. If our car parks continue to be free for users with all costs involved, your council tax will have to raise by at least 10% plus. If you're a bandee, this is some increase. Business rates go directly to the government, with the allowance being returned to the borough council level. The visitors and workers in the town pay their council tax to their own town and village. It is obvious that our car parks are being used as private car parking by many vehicles. Vehicles are being left for holiday parking, railway traffic, and I can't think of any one of our many eating places who provide customers car parking. We need to manage our car parks, free up and turn over the spaces by monitoring and enforcing. But in order to do that, funding is required, and the only way to raise funds is by charging those who park on our car parks. We also need to take into account the government funding scheme to provide charging points for electric vehicles. This is necessary and will also take up variable parking spaces. The town centre residents, along with the businesses, are their own worst problem by parking all day and night, filling our vulnerable car parks. We all know how important the market is to the whole town, including our retailers. The entrance to the town are also important, one of which is being destroyed by the borough and highways. If the entrances are untidy together with car parks, it makes the town unattractive and to all visitors. As the town, we need to improve all areas. It is obvious what is suggested will upset some people, but we have to go forward for the good of the town. If anyone has any concerns on this subject, please either email or send a letter to the office, ready for the June car park meeting, or attend in person. I would like to finish my bit by saying a big thank you to our loyal and hard-working staff. and also welcome our newest councillors. I would like to personally apologise for the way the town and the residents have been treated this past 2 years. Far too much basic council business has been put on the back burner, and we are working hard to catch up. Thank you.
Just ask a question, please, Chairman.
Please do.
Why would we want to pay parking to cover the amount of money what is costing, as we say, when the electorate and Downham Market people are already paying for the car park, or car parks wherever in town, through the council tax? So why would they want to be charged again? And also, is there not any alternatives, other ways of restructuring and probably getting the rates paid for as such? Other avenues to look down. I don't think that the public in Downham Market are going to like the idea of paid parking. It happened in Ely some years ago, 15, 20 years ago. They had 5, 6 years of paid parking, nearly killed the town, and then they took the cameras away. Well, the paid parking charging meters. So I would be very wary of that decision.
Can I also say, we're just about to build Lidl out of town, and that's going to draw people out of the town. We need every asset we can get to keep people in the town, and free parking is an asset. So I think we'd lose that completely.
Thank you. I think Councillor Doyle will back me up on this one. This has been going on
in this council for about 25 years. Is it? Something like that. The amount of money that, even when I was on the council for 10 years, the amount of money that has been spent looking at this problem is phenomenal. I think we could have bought another car park and put it up as well, but it's one of those things that will never be resolved to the satisfaction of everybody. It can't be, because you're going to get people that are against it, you're going to get people for it. But that will be sorted out eventually, one way or the other. What else can I say?
I think what we need is the car parks for the people that are actually spending, either working in the town or spending their money in the town, and not those that are using it as a cheap way to hop on that train and go and earn their thousands or whatever else, their money down in London, to come back and use this town as a dormitory. When there's car parks down there that they can't be bothered to park in because they have to pay a little bit of money for, or they park all on the sides of the roads where it's free, block Bennett Street up and all the other streets. So if we could get them actually out of these town car parks and park down the bottom, and there is a way, but I think we can discuss that in a meeting, and go forward and possibly end up doing something that still keeps people coming into town.
Yeah, did you say it was June, this next meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be a meeting in June so the council can discuss it then.
Can I just put forward that when I worked in Cambridge, if you purchased any goods in the shop, you could get over a certain amount, you could get your parking fee returned. So wouldn't that help the people around us?
That's down to the shops. That's down to the shops whether they pay or not.
No, but what I'm saying is if they pay the parking fee, then if they spent a certain amount in the shop, which is what Justin is getting at, that people are parking who should be paying for it down the railway station, then the shoppers would get their money back, or some of it.
Yeah.
That works in some cities.
I think it's going to be a little bit worse soon as well, because I may be wrong, or I think I'm right. We're just
talking about down by the flour mill. They're going to have double yellow lines because there's parking along there, and the lorries have a hell of a job turning in and out of there. So there's another dozen or so cars got to be found as parking spaces. It's unfortunate, but there's another car park that's just been sold, isn't there, by the railway there. I don't know where that's going to be, but, you know.
As I say, we got the meeting in June. This subject has been parked, excuse me, has been parked for a couple of years. It needs to be opened up again and re-examined. A lot of the statistics which are there and available probably no longer current and relevant for post-COVID. People's habits have changed, people working from home, so parking habits will change, car park usage will change. We've probably got to spend an awful lot more money than we've already been spent going through some of the studies again, getting statistical surveys done. As it happened before, 2/3 of the spaces were taken up all day by people who lived and worked in town. Whether that's still the same story, we don't know. We have to do that study all over again because things have changed, moved on. We've got to start the process again.
As you know, I live out there.
I can honestly say I have never ever found a problem parking. I park quite easily. No.
Work at Discover Downham, I'm one of the volunteers that works there. And we find most Tuesdays we can't find a parking space because they're taken up by commuters going up to town.
At this moment, there's nothing we can do about that.
Well, there is, because if you put a limited time that people could leave their cars there and monitor it, say an hour is maximum.
I think Councillor Doyle's got the answer to that.
Oh, I haven't got the answer. I love the fact that we've got free parking in this town. I really do love it. I think it's great. The problem we've got is you've got to monitor it. And to monitor the car parks costs a fortune. You're talking about it would cost £150,000, I think.
To set up with it.
To set it up and to monitor it. And all that money goes. It don't come to the town. It's not for us. And personally, I think, as someone just said, if we put car parking in the town now, it will kill the town. The shops would be more or less dead. But you've got to encourage people in, and you've got to encourage people to... It's fair enough that we've got 3 hours parking, but no one does 3 hours parking. They come here, as you said, and they park all day. We had a situation a little while ago in the Discovery Centre, or the old fire station car parks. There was a firm who was exporting cars to Eastern Europe, and they took up almost all the car parking spaces for over a month. Didn't cost them a penny piece, and there's nothing we could do about it. But as I said, the problem is we've got to monitor it, and you've got to pay for monitoring. That's the problem.
I've been involved in this car park fiasco for about the past 14 years. One of the suggestions I would make is that where I used to live in Hertfordshire years ago, they had the same problem. And they would not allow any parking till 10 o'clock in the morning. And then at 3 o'clock it went from 10 till 3 you could park. The whole idea being commuters couldn't park because they couldn't park up until 10 o'clock. And at 3 o'clock it went from 10 till 3, and at 3 when people were coming home from work they could park. Now cutting that off in the morning would solve the problem with the commuters because they wouldn't be able to park. Now it's just the way that they tried it in Royston and they tried it in Stevenage and it worked. It kept the streets clear around the railway line. But I mean, if you're looking for an answer to this car park problem in Downham, get yourself a crystal ball, because I don't know.
When I was on the council before, I spoke to one of the local businesses, and the owner of that business said, if you bring in charging, I will not be able to survive and I will have to shut down. That's the sort of thing that will happen. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, car parking meeting is in June, and we will try and do something. I don't know what.
Public participation at that meeting?
Sorry?
Is there public participation in that car park meeting?
Yes. It's a council meeting.
I suggest the public attend.
Right, the last one is, and you've been very good, all of you. It's your turn. Or forever hold your peace.
10 years ago now, and a lot of the councillors would have been here, but we did, because I used to work alongside the police, and they did they offered to fund for 3 years cameras around the town. And it got through planning, we had the planning people here, they sorted out where it's going to be on the listed buildings, where the cameras were going to be. I think there were 3 cameras, one was on the Swan, one was here, and they were circular ones. So things have changed in the meantime with how cameras work, but we did go through the process, and it was only a very few people objected because it didn't cover, not the town, it covered the town centre but not the outer areas. It was before you came on it, so
Yeah.
and then I passed it on to somebody else when I left.
I think the last time...
Perhaps the councillors can put me right on this, but when I was on the council before, we investigated cameras in the town which would be run via the borough council, their system. Yeah. But it was going to work out so expensive for them to do it for us. And again, there would be no comeback to us, and the ratepayers would be paying it. Don't ask me how much it was. I haven't got a clue. The police, did you say? Well, I don't think they've got a penny. I don't think they've got a penny to spare now, the police. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
You cut the grass on the pavements and things like that. I've noticed that all they seem to do is drive around with this little tractor and that, and it all ends up all over the roads, going into your houses and everything. Nothing is cleaned up after them. It's blocking the drains. Who authorises the cutting of the grass? And actually checked afterwards, or is it just a one-off? Get it cut.
I think the majority of it is county council, and some of it is borough council.
Well, it is borough council the main ones that do that. And we did complain about it before, and for a little while they used those blower things to push it back onto the grass.
They still use it on our state. Park Lane still, Church of Wellington still use the blowers. They just blow it. We don't know where it goes, they just blow it.
Go on.
Picking up on that point, the borough council cuts virtually all the grass, quite a lot of it under contract to the county. There are a set number of cuts every year. The cost of mowers that pick up their own grass would make it impossible for it to be done once. So you're going to get grass cuttings blowing around in the wind. Sometimes they come around with a blower, sometimes they've got a strimmer, but you ain't going to stop grass cuttings lying around on the road in the gutter and all the rest of it. And if you want to get rid of that, then your council tax will go through this route, never mind anybody else's.
Thank you.
Again.
As I've got young children in the town, just wondering with regards to the sixth form, has anything been brought to the town council of what's actually happening with the site at the sixth form? Is it going to be used for anything that will develop the community at all? Because nothing's obviously been fed through to the town from the school, so just wasn't sure what's happening with the site, or what they're planning on doing with the site.
I personally haven't heard anything.
The office made an inquiry, and we're still waiting to hear back from the site owners as to their intention of the site. So we don't know yet.
Yeah, just because it's such an amazing space that it should exist in the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more? Dare I say it? It's 8 o'clock. I therefore close this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody attending.